Welcome to the I Am Mother of the Year podcast, where we equip and encourage moms just like you to move from isolation, fear, comparison, and chaos to community, compassion, peace, and freedom. We're so glad you're here. Hey guys, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Jen, and this is the I Am Mother of the Year podcast.
And oh my gosh, I'm just in love with Frozen 2. This isn't a new thing. This is their 1 year anniversary of Frozen 2. Mm-hmm. And when we were planning for this, we were like, why should we do this? And then we really realized, you've probably watched it in 2020 about a million billion times.
Over and over. You know every word. We know you do.
Exactly. And so we know that you are going to know this scene that we're going to unpack and break down in this episode.
Yeah, so this is part 4 of our 5-part series.
Woo-hoo!
And this is the one of all the 5 that is not a song, okay? So we didn't have to dig too deep, but we mined through all the songs and we got to this scene and we're like, oh, the line that Elsa just said, fear is what can't be trusted. We were like, oh, pause, write that down. We have to unpack that.
We're doing it, but first, we've got to suit up.
Oh, it's just us again, Elsa and Anna, casually coming to you in front of this beautiful backdrop.
That's right.
Here to discuss some of the very important themes of Frozen 2.
Whoa! It's like you wrote the script and just memorized it
off
and
the cuff.
said it. Oh,
It's not here.
nope, I'm so surprised and surprising.
Yes. I'm Queen Elsa of the Enchanted Forest.
That's right.
Of the Nathaldra people.
Do you get to claim the Nathaldra people?
I don't know. Who am I queen over?
I don't know. At
The
least
water and the wind. All the
Yes.
other spirits.
The little chameleon
he's so
fire
cute.
guy. There's a little sweet guy. Does he have a name? Did you
Yes,
Google
he
his
does.
name?
It's B something like Brunin or something weird.
Brunin.
I don't know, something like that. Google it. It's a B name.
All to say, we've been doing songs.
Yes.
But this time we chose a little movie clip
Ooh.
because it was like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And it's after Elsa goes into the unknown. Then show yourself. And then, so good. The goodness of the show yourself.
So good.
But then she's surrounded by the memory, like the water memories of the past and all the people and like,
Frozen in time.
oh my gosh. I love when when she shows that, like,
Let it
her
go.
former self, and then she's like, oh.
So like years ago.
So Frozen
ago.
1. Yeah. And when she
Oh, the bad guy,
Hans. She'd like,
Get out of here. Yeah, a little walk down memory lane.
yep, it was amazing. But then it went way, way back to not her memory, but the water memory of her grandfather planning the attack against the Northalder people because he was scared of their magic. And that's what he says. Magic cannot be trusted. And then Elsa says,
Fear is what can't be trusted. And we were like, pause. Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Fear cannot be trusted. Why? Because fear is a liar.
says every Christian
Okay.
mug,
And
journal
t-shirt.
cover, t-shirt,
It's
bumper
true.
sticker. It's true.
It's legitimate.
It's so legitimate. Fear is a liar, which is what we talk about a lot, being, the what's true about you type of people.
Yes.
Talking about okay, fear is a liar, so fear is the thing lying to you.
Yeah.
So,
And it's a hurdle.
Yeah.
In the way of becoming you who God created you to be.
exactly. And when you know it's true about you is when you get to become the woman God created you to be. It's when you do that. When you don't do that, let's turn it negative. If you don't know who God's created you to be, you are never going to become the woman that you are meant to be. Like, you're on this planet for a specific reason. If you don't know what's true about you, you're never going to figure that out.
Okay, I just thought of something.
Okay.
I was gonna cross the arms.
Okay, Elsa.
Okay. It's like, just go with me here.
Sure.
It's like if you were in this group and they were like, oh my gosh, we have to make this thing, build this house. We have to nail this nail into this piece of wood. And if only we had a tool, and people are trying with their shoe and they're pushing it down with their thumb and elbow, like, oh, step aside, I'll do it. I'm going to jump on it or whatever. It's like, no.
I'm going to jump the nail right into the wood.
This should do it.
You need smarter crew. That's what I'm thinking.
That's right. And they look to you because they're not very smart. And they're, no, I'm saying because they need help.
I know, they need help.
And you're like, I'm not equipped. I don't know. And you shrink back. Meanwhile, you have a hammer in your back pocket, but you're unaware that it's there. When you don't know your identity and the tools that God gave you to use to be the woman that you were created to be, you're hiding, you're concealing, you're not even aware of what you have in your back pocket. So all of a sudden, if that knowledge became known to you and you're like, wait, what's this? Oh, it'd be really cool if I had a hammer.
Oh.
We need John the mentalist to give me a hammer back here. Oh, there's a
Here it
Just
is.
pretend. If all of a sudden you're like, what is this? Oh, I think it's called a hammer. Let me try to whack at this.
Yeah. Step aside, nail jumper.
Yeah.
I've got this.
You're in good hands now. And you would nail that with like just a few strokes into the wood and you would be able to build something really beautiful, but we need your tool.
Yes. To show up as who
Yes.
you are.
Yes.
Unafraid.
Knowing what's true about you. And you have a process for this.
I do, which we're going to talk through after we talk through. This is really this whole episode.
Yeah.
Is a call to honesty. We're going to ask you a hard question, okay? So get ready for it. We're not going to leave you there because we are going to talk through, like, once you figure out the answer to the hard question, to walk it through this what's true about you process, figuring out your triggers, finding the lie that you believe, replacing it with the truth about who you are, and then walking in and imagining your freedom. But the question is, drum roll, please. That's such an Anna thing to do, right? She's cute and quirky, right? Reminds you of anybody you know?
You're so in character.
Wow. Okay, she's not that ditzy. Jeez. What are you afraid of?
Who wants to talk about that?
Okay.
No one.
Okay, your turn, Jen.
Oh, dang it.
Now that you mention it, what are you? Let's just pick one.
Okay.
Can you hit us with one example? Like, what are you afraid of?
Okay. A core fear, or a couple that come to mind. But one is letting people down. Like, the whole idea of not being good enough, which I know you don't like that phrase, but it's true. Like, I want to be my best in every way possible. Like,
Yeah.
I want to prove myself. I want to, like, I'm strivey.
Yes.
Like, look, I'm on time, and I have this cute outfit on, and my kids are all, like, perfectly presented and polished and clean and super well-mannered.
Obviously.
And healthy, and, like,
Yeah.
I want to prove. Oh, well, like, I want to be the best that I can be. It's like this perfectionist meets the achiever, and so I just, like, have to be. So my fear is that I'm going to show up as less than that in any form. So, like, lately I'm, like, rushing to get to my destination. Like, anxiety, my number one trigger for anxiety is the fear of being late. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet if you, like, unpack that, I think the core fear is that if I'm a minute late, then I just failed you. And I'm showing you that I'm probably failing at my life because I couldn't be here. This was a pass-fail exercise, and this is probably a reflection on my character and who I am, and, like, yeah.
Yes, I'm like, I can feel my blood pressure rising. One, in your situation, in my empathy, going, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. But two, I'm like, no, I reject that fully, which I do. Yeah. But I'm also going to draw attention to the fact that you, as a perfectionist achiever, I said, what are you afraid of? And you said, to like, not be my best. Like, you still frame it so beautifully because you don't even want to say, I'm afraid of being my worst.
Oh, that's like, not even, because
not even in your vocabulary.
That's not even an option. I could be less than my best. I could be mediocre, but you're never going to see my worst. Like, that's in my brain of, like, no, that's not allowed. You won't.
Because, okay, this is fun. Okay, let's dig in, shall we? So, this is a hypothetical situation.
Yes.
What would happen if someone saw your worst?
See, my brain's like, reject. It's not even possible. Can't even go there.
Because you can't even imagine your worst. Because it'd be your worst case scenario.
And if that happened, I'd be alone. I would not let anyone see that. No.
What are you so afraid of?
Oh, it's like a wiring thing. I don't want anyone to see my worst. I don't want to ever be my worst. It's achieve. Like, I'm achieving to be as far away from my worst as I can be. The fear,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. Yeah.
The fear is?
I don't know the fear. You can help me get there.
Hold on, we gotta sneeze. Do you need to say something?
She already cut. Oh.
Yeah, that's a cut.
We started over.
What?
Nothing.
I thought you were gonna make a note for
I had a feeling something was coming, so I was preparing.
Nice.
There you go. Okay. It is. Prep away.
Like when you're in your worst, and you're like, why? You're
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're going to make you answer that, so.
But like, you don't know. But if someone sees you in your worst, what's so bad about that?
Yes, let's get there.
I don't know. I need to figure it out first, probably.
Nope. Nope.
But could you can ask her questions?
Oh, I got it.
We'll get it.
I found
We'll get there.
it.
Yep,
Okay,
we'll get
there
there.
it is. Okay.
Okay.
I think the fear is that my worth is attached to how good I present myself, what I get done, my accomplishments. So I think it's a worth thing.
Yeah.
I think it's my value. That then...
Yeah, there's no perfection. If I'm not perfect, I'm not worth your time.
If I'm not, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's like I want to present as my best in I'm all in. Like if you ask me to do something, it's going to be A+ level because
true.
I'm strivey perfectionist. Like I want it to be my best. So
Right.
I want to be my best in all these other roles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not perfect, but like if I'm not doing the best that I can, then I'm probably not worth fill in the blank. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
So you're not worthy.
Maybe. I just feel like it's so attached that that I'll be judged. I care what other people think. And I think if you ask me to do something and I didn't watch my kids for 2 hours so I can do this webinar. Okay. I brainstormed I think 83 different activities that I could do with your kids. And I wanted to be the best Mary Poppins type of babysitting. We're going to go on adventures and I made a list with them of all the things we wanted to do and all the crafts and da-da-da-da-da. And it was because I want to give you my best.
Yeah.
Because I think if I did any less than that, it would be a disappointment. Mm-hmm. And it's well, then you're not very good at that. I'm not going to trust you to do that again. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good because it has me feeling like your presence, I'm saying this to you, your presence is enough for me. You know what I'm saying? You showed up to my house to watch my kids.
Well, then I'm exhausted for no reason.
Your very existence is enough for me.
Oh, and that's all the grace.
Yeah. Receive it.
Yes.
Right? You could have showed up in sweatpants with nothing to do for my children.
Yeah.
And I would have still been the most grateful.
Oh my gosh, and I'm no, I feel like you would have been let down. I trusted you. You let me down. You did not give me your best.
You let me down by showing up to my home as a huge favor
You watched a
to
movie?
watch my kids in the middle of quarantine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, you watched a movie with my kids? Did they interrupt my webinar? No. Oh, awesome. You won.
That would release me
Right,
from
but it's
everything.
Why don't you let yourself be released?
I don't know, because I was late to, I was going to be 5 minutes late to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
And I voiced it, I apologized up and down. It was 5 minutes, really.
Yeah.
But it was worst case scenario, fear spiral of, I'm going to have to, reschedule the appointment. I'm going to throw off his whole day. He's going to think less of me. He's going to think, what a failure of a person and a mom and a being you are. You can't show up on time. This was a test. You failed. Mm-hmm. And so I got in there and I was he was like, hey. I was like, I'm so sorry I'm late. And he was like, oh, I can't leave till she leaves. I closed the place down at 5. You're my last patient. It's fine. And I'm and I even said, I was I'm really glad I didn't get a speeding ticket on the way here because that would not have been worth it. Because I thought you were going to beat me up. And he's like, oh, no, you're totally good. I've got all the time in the world.
Right. Your presence was enough.
It didn't matter if it was at 4:30 or 4:35.
No.
And I'm like, wow, that's something for me to work on is aim to be released. Like, what if people are actually waiting to offer you grace?
Right. And if you choose to think the best about people and choose to believe that they are willing to and ready to offer you grace, that just adds another layer of like, I'm going to expect the best out of you.
And trust you're doing the best you can.
Right,
and
whether or
this
not
isn't
you-
a reflection on you as a person.
Yeah. So let's run this through because I want to run it through the process and then we can talk about me and all that I'm created and blah, 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 blah. Unless we take the whole 20 minutes on you.
No. Conceal, don't fail.
We're working on that. I'm trying to release her. So, okay, so your trigger is I'm running late.
Yes.
That's your worst anxiety spikes.
Can't
I'm
even talk
running
about it.
late.
Yeah.
Trigger situation.
Yes.
The lie you believe in that moment is,
I'm letting someone down. I'm not doing my best.
okay,
I failed.
you failed. The core lie underneath that, because we can't just stay like, I'm letting someone down. Yeah. So
So they had to wait on me and now I'm bad.
So
they're going to think less of me and I care what people think. So
See
it's
this game?
probably
It's fun.
it's attached to worth.
Right. So I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not worthy.
And I'm a failure.
Yeah. Yeah. My let's translate. Your worth, your identity is attached to your accomplishments. Like that core lie is that you are only as good as your timeliness in this situation.
Yes.
Like
yes. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Queen Anna of Arundel at your service.
Sis.
Let's play charades later. Okay. So there's your lie. There's your core lie. And then what's the truth?
The truth is that God is the only one who gets to sign on the dotted line of who I am and what others think of me. Like, he's the one. Like, it doesn't matter. He's the only one. So me trying to please everyone all the time and prove the time test that apparently is in my head and no one else's, it's a pass-fail if you didn't know.
Yeah, drive like a bat out of hell.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
No wonder you need the chiropractor because you're driving like this all the time.
Seriously. I was like, what can I do about this shoulder? He was like, it's a stress thing. If you could just...
Be 5 minutes late. Oh,
It's okay to make a mistake. Now we know why my mother last episode. Okay, so yeah, the truth is that God's opinion is the only one that matters, and He doesn't think of me as a failure if I'm 5 minutes late. He knows and loves me, no matter what. What the heck am I doing?
Exactly. What are you doing?
Goodness gracious.
So can you imagine? This is fun. This is how you imagine your freedom. Next time you're 5 minutes late. No.
Look, I'm twitching.
Let's do 10 minutes late.
Oh.
On your way to the chiropractor. You're 10 minutes late.
Was Jacob's fault. I'm not going to claim that.
Yeah. Husband problems, am I right?
Okay, if there's a traffic jam, and I took a wrong turn. I'm 10 minutes late.
I just love all the blaming that has to go on for you to even justify the fact that, like,
why would I? Yeah.
why would I ever? Yeah. Okay, let's hypothetically, yes, there's a traffic jam. There's every reason on the planet for you to be late.
Yes.
Next, can you imagine your freedom in that moment? You know you're going to be 10 minutes late.
Can I imagine not being stressed? No. Is that the wrong answer?
No, that's a
No,
good
I can't
answer.
imagine
And that's
not
where you
being
need to start.
stressed.
Because you're never going to be not stressed if you can't imagine yourself being not stressed.
No, I'll be stressed every time. Like, because if I speed a little faster, maybe I'll get there 1 minute earlier. It's a race.
It's a race.
Anxious race.
Yeah. Okay. So now you know where to start.
Okay.
I'm glad. See, we didn't fix Elsa today. Okay. But you have some place to start.
Yeah.
You have a launching off point.
Yeah.
Imagine. Just start to imagine. Let your mind wander.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you permission.
Oh, boy.
To let your mind wander to a world where a grown woman with a million responsibilities can show up 10 minutes late to an appointment and apologize, and everything is fine.
Yeah.
She's like,
also,
dead eyes. Nope.
Well, I'm thinking back to the
I
people
can't think
who
about that.
warned me of like, well, then you're going to miss your appointment. We're going to have to bump you. Like, I'm not creating this fear out of nowhere. Like, there have
Right.
been people who have been rude
Absolutely.
and unforgiving and like, how could you be late?
Right.
This is my time. How disrespectful. Like, there are those people.
Totally.
But
So?
I also have the, right.
The fun
Are they
so
God?
game.
No.
No? Okay, great. Check.
Yeah.
I know it's not that easy.
I like the idea of, a little tightness. Okay, bring it down.
Masseuse?
I like the idea of imagining, what if other people gave you grace? Like, stop thinking about the very few people who did push back and did make you feel bad, whatever.
Right.
But you get to control your own emotions and you get to control how you feel.
Boom.
And what if you imagined what if I imagined that other people had good intentions and were full of grace and were just walking around like Jesus, like ready to just forgive and be like, oh, it's fine, just like the chiropractor did.
Right.
And just like you were saying, like, no, your presence is enough. Like,
Yes.
that's more fun for me to imagine. So I'm going to start
No, that's
there
great.
and then this.
Because no, that's perfect because you can imagine, like, we all do this. We hold on to like the few people who have given us all this reason, and then we project that
On everyone.
unresolved pain on everyone else.
Yes.
And that's not true.
No.
Next time you're late to Kroger click list, you can still imagine, thank you for Kroger pickup.
Yeah, and they don't care if you're late.
Right. But like you can imagine the chiropractor going, it's totally fine. Imagine his grace, project his grace on your next person that you're late for.
Yes. Yeah. I like it.
I think we've freed you today, my friend.
All right.
Well, hallelujah. And look at the time. Time's up. 20 minutes. Shoot, just flies right by when you're fixing someone else's fare.
What do you want to do? Do you want to go through yours or go down to these? Because we're super official and have clipboards.
I know.
Amanda says we should go to yours.
I know. I'm just stalling.
Oh, okay. Look, maybe this could be like a two-parter or something.
It's all right. We don't need it. We know you're here with us because you're like, Anna and Elsa are talking about Kroger pickup.
Why would I stop
What's
this now?
happening? Let me tell you what's happening. I'm dawdling. And I will tell you, but I need you to ask me.
What is your fear? What are you afraid of?
There you go. My fear. There's why I like balk at that, because I had a realization over this past year that I can talk about fear out here, and it's very out here because fear.
Oh,
is
that's
fear.
yeah.
And fear's the liar. Like, but it's in the ownership of saying, I'm afraid. Like the first time I said I'm afraid to my counselor, I like puddle. Like I was in pieces because I had never like taken ownership of my fear as my own. Like
Claimed it.
I'm afraid. So fear's making me do this. Fear's making me do this. Sure, fear's not the boss for you. Okay, yeah. I'm afraid. Now what am I gonna do about it? Not what's fear gonna tell me to do? No, what am I gonna do about the fact that I'm afraid?
That's so vulnerable too.
Oh, it's brutal.
I'm just imagining saying to my husband, like, what's wrong with me? I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And that welcomes people in to go,
Oh, yeah.
oh, what are you afraid of?
Tell me.
Let's work on this together.
Right.
Fear is making
Well,
me
fear
like,
actually, yeah.
he's a horrible monster out here, and I got to keep him at arm's length.
I'm afraid.
That's huge.
And what I'm afraid of, we'll just use one example of my mothering. And so, we've got like fight, flight, or freeze. Those are our like reactions.
Epinephrine kicks in, and
I freeze. I'm a freezer, which I hate because I'm like, at least fight or at least run. I just I think it's the worst of all the
something.
options. I do nothing because I'm oscillating between, am I gonna fight? Am I gonna run away?
Yeah.
Am I gonna say the wrong thing? In the fear, what I'm afraid of is, so in these moments with my daughter, we've talked about her a little bit, but she's hard to parent. She's so amazing, but so hard to parent. And so in those moments of not knowing what I'm supposed to do and being afraid that I'm gonna mess her up completely in one moment of disciplinary action, that like, nothing's working, I'm just gonna try this. So instead of me going, okay, this is my plan and I'm gonna da-da-da, like I just don't operate like that.
Yeah.
And so when something arises, that situation where I have to respond, I freeze. I'm completely paralyzed because I'm so afraid of making the wrong disciplinary choice.
The pressure is so overwhelming that you're like, I just don't want to move then. I don't want to do anything.
I'm just gonna let, and then she literally, like, I freeze a lot inside, but like outwardly, I freeze. I just stand there until she's like, and runs away or whatever. Yeah, like she physically leaves because I am still frozen. And then I go, wait, what just happened? Oh my gosh. And then cue the shame spiral of like,
I should have said this.
you are so pathetic. Like, your 6-year-old's got the run of the house. Yeah, she does sometimes because I'm so afraid of messing her up that I don't do anything.
Why are you afraid of doing the wrong thing?
Because I'm afraid that I'm gonna lose her.
How?
I'm afraid she's not gonna love me.
If you over-discipline, if you choose the wrong discipline move, she's going to just turn her back on her mother and say...
If I over-discipline, if I under-discipline, even if I freeze, which I do, I'm afraid she's not gonna love me.
Why? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dang it! See, that was not an acceptable answer for you, but I'm like, oh, for me, for sure.
I'm like, once you
we don't have to dig into this. So is it time yet?
Yes.
Right, I'm afraid she's not gonna love me.
Yeah. It's something about this mother-daughter relationship that's so precious.
It
that's
is.
so...
And
There's this pressure.
it's so complicated, but I'm like, then I can rationalize it and I can tell myself the truth. So if we start running it through this, like, my fear is that, like, my daughter is not going to love me. And if my daughter can't even love me, let's get it down to the very core, then I am at my very core unlovable. Whew, I did not like saying that out loud. Like, I'm unlovable. And I know that that's not true. And so, like, in my fear, in those moments, I go straight to that. I'm frozen. I'm unlovable.
Oh, you go straight down.
Straight down to it.
Oh.
Because the deep feeling, I'm always feeling the things, and like, I am so connected to the things I'm afraid of with my emotions that I'm like, I go straight down to like, oh my gosh, I'm unlovable.
Oh my gosh.
And for my 6-year-old who like just hit her brother, like, this is not a situation that needs to make me feel unlovable.
Yeah.
There's no situation that needs to make me feel unlovable.
No.
Okay, there's no situation that needs you to feel unlovable because we're not unlovable.
No.
We were created by God, who is by definition love, in his image, so we are by definition love.
Yes.
And in all of that relationship, we are loved.
Perfect
We're so
love.
dearly loved.
Unfailing, nothing can separate you, kind of unconditional
Exactly,
love.
and there's nothing that we could say or do that would make him love us any more or love us any less.
Yeah.
And so, like, man, if I can know that and rest in that, and I know I'm teaching my daughter that. I'm teaching my daughter how beautifully and wonderfully she was created. I'm teaching her how loved she is, not in my words always, but in my actions and in the way I allow myself to be loved by those around me and by my Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna get that. And in that love that her Father, her Heavenly Father has for her, he's going to awaken this deep spiritual everlasting love within her that she's going to pour out to everyone else around her, including me, no matter the mistakes that I make for her.
Which is going to minimize the freezing because she's going to be so loving that she won't be
and
hitting her brother all the time.
Exactly. And perfection does not usher in gratitude. It doesn't usher in the peace. It doesn't usher in any of these things. And so, like, that's not the goal. And in my head, I'm like, I'm so far from a perfectionist that, like, I don't even identify that that's what I'm doing. But somehow in this situation, one of my biggest trigger points of disciplining my kids is, like, I have to be perfectly disciplining them or I'm unlovable.
So you just nailed it. I mean, you just said it all.
Yeah.
Oh
yes.
my gosh,
and I'm so used to, like, running. Because I'm living and breathing.
Yes.
I've been living and breathing for 2 years.
Yes.
This what's true about you process.
Yeah.
And so, if the conversation I just had with myself mainly and you is like foreign to you, that's what we're gonna teach you. Like, that's what we're having these conversations for, is so that we can keep like so that you can run yourself through this going, oh my gosh, this feels bad. Like, why do I feel this way? What's going on? And just just knowing the right questions. And you know the question I asked you most often? So?
Yeah.
So?
Yeah. Why? Keep drilling.
So just keep going till you can't go any lower, and then sit in that for just 1 second. How does it feel? Like, I'm unlovable.
Not only is that not true, like that's so far from the truth, that's laughable. Like that is such a freeing moment. Don't believe the lies. Fear is a liar. Fear cannot be trusted.
Bringing it full circle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay!
So good.
Anything else?
No, we just need to tell them. Anna and Elsa, Jen and Lisa, God wants you to know you're a really, really good mom. Thanks for listening to the I Am Mother of the Year podcast with Lisa and Jen. If you love what you hear and want insider access to more conversations just like these, exclusive Mother of the Year merch, and access to the I Am Mother of the Year podcast 1 day early, join the growing community of patrons who support our movement at patreon.com/I Am Mother of the Year. Talk to you next week.